Family, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Thank you so much for joining me today on this beautiful Tuesday, January 20th. My goodness. Wow. What a game last night, right? Oh, my goodness. I enjoyed the national championship game. I thought that was a hell of a game. I'm going to talk about it in a second. Good morning to everybody inside the comment box. I hope that y'all slept well. I hope that you're feeling good this amazing Tuesday. I hope that you enter with positivity, gratitude, right? Man, we got to start the day off right now. I appreciate you guys being here. If you caught Wake Up Bama, yeah, I had a lot to say. I spoke my mind as I usually do. And, I think when you look at what Indiana did this past year, it's hell of impressive, right? I mean, like I said yesterday, if I would have told you back in 2020, Indiana's one day going to become a buzzsaw and go undefeated and win the Natty in 2025, you would have thought I was absolutely crazy, all right? I mean, Indiana, what they've been able to do within 2 years under Signetti is just crazy. 2 years. That's the same that our coach has been here, right? Shoot, it's crazy. So, and I'm going to talk about the national championship here coming up. If you kicked it with us for the watch-along last night, it was fun. We had a good time. We're always having a good time. We were, breaking down the game. We were talking some sub-life topics. We hit a bunch of topics. So next time there's a live, come kick it with us, all right? It's fun. It's life. So as we kind of enter this day and the season is done, right, everyone put out the preseason rankings. This is the first thing they did, right? So the rankings are out for January 20th. And it is in Alabama where are my mathematicians here, okay? Does anybody want to do an average? I did an average of kind of all of this right here that are ranked. And I think Alabama, see if you can come up with that. That's your daily math quiz. Who can get it? 15 plus 21 plus 12 plus 20 plus 20 plus 12 plus 17. All right. All right. So CBS has Alabama, and these are like way too early rankings. Like they just season ended, boom, here where the teams rank. How do you even do this? They have Alabama at 15 in CBS Sports. ESPN is like, nah, these dudes are 21. Yahoo Sports says 12. The Athletic 20. Fox Sports 20. USA Today, I guess that's, them and Yahoo Sports have them at 12. And then On3 says 17. I don't know. It seems way early to be ranking teams, but whatever. It's cool. Reverse rat poison to start the year. Maybe I might print this graphic off and just post it inside the locker room. I don't really have an issue with any of these rankings, to be honest. We want to remain optimistic. We want to talk about, kind of where things are. But, yeah, I don't know where Alabama is. I think a lot of teams don't know where they are either, to be honest. It's like, I think the number is, we'll have to add it up. But I think Alabama added, 41 new dudes to the roster from recruiting the transfer portal? Something like that. It's crazy. So I will say this. The Alabama defense, especially the secondary, is going to keep them where they need to be. That's going to be a hard unit to beat, okay? The obvious is what the hell the offense going to look like? What is it going to look like? Because if we're looking at it from last year, it's just like the guys who left and the guys that are returning this year, you're like, you don't have a quarterback. A quarterback hasn't started. You guys can make believe that these quarterbacks are going to be good, but they haven't played, right? Like meaningful snaps. Your running backs, they couldn't run the ball. The receivers couldn't catch the ball. You didn't utilize your best receivers. You know what I'm saying? Your offensive line, it has one returner. If you really wanted to look at it like that, you could. So that's kind of the outlook about Alabama. The defense is going to be fine. I think the defense will be good. It's just what is offense going to look like? Plus, you return Ryan Grubb, who everybody is like has as, kind of enemy number one right now. So are the rankings fair? I don't know. Ranking teams in January seems crazy to me. I'm just trying to figure out, like, digest last night's game. I don't think there's anybody that really knows where the rankings will be, right? That's why they really shouldn't have rankings until, like, teams have played at least 8 games. Once you play 8 games, then those are the rankings I kind of start to believe. After you played 8 games and you played kind of the teams that you're going to beat the crap out of, right? The whoever teams, a couple conference games, a road game, a couple home games, then we can like self-assess. But the preseason rankings, who knows? Come on. Nobody knows. So don't let these rankings get you mad. If anything, this is kind of rat poison. I would print stuff out like this and kind of like put it in a little time capsule and then kind of open it up in like November and be like, wow, is it cold over here? Hell yeah, it's cold over here. This morning for workouts, it was like the feels like was like 20 here in Tuscaloosa. It's warmed up a little bit. I have it at, it's not bad at all right now. It's 40. But it was. Is it cold? Yes. 100%. Did it snow? No. And North Alabama Storm Chase sent me an email this morning. I'm tired, to be honest. I'm tired. Sent me an email this morning. I didn't even get to really cruise through it, but said something like a storm, an ice storm, might be brewing. And the workouts are at various locations, Broderick, Monday through Saturday. Check it out. F3 Tuscaloosa. I run the social media channel there too. Yeah, if I don't have like enough to do, right, I also do that. F3 Tuscaloosa on Instagram. It has all the times and stuff like that. Okay, let's give a little AM shout-outs this morning as we're letting everybody get checked in. And again, good morning to everybody. Thanks for being here. Miss Amanda Jane, what's up? Appreciate you being here. Jeff, thank you so much for being a long-time fan funder. Ms. Bama Derry, good to see you as well. Bruce Williams, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Happy Tuesday. This is Taco Tuesday. Is anybody doing tacos tonight? I might do tacos for the kids. Young C, what's up, bro? Good to see you, Miss Alyssa. What's going on? Thanks for coming to us from Macon, Georgia. All right, Capstone Farms, what's up? Thanks for being here. Ron G, good morning, bro. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Tuesday. 5 Adams says, roll tide, bro. Roll tide to you. Rex Green, what's up, man? Good to see you. Mike down in Choctaw, Alabama. Good to see you, man. Big RG, what's up, man? Good to see you as well. Good morning to you. Who else we got up in the crib? There's a lot of people this morning, which I always appreciate saying good morning to you guys. Bama Boy, what's up, man? Anna coming to us from the ATL. Miss Nicole Covington. K Spray, what's up? Randall 501. Soli 4627. Justin TR. Good to see you, man. He says ice storms in Central is very much possible this weekend. Yikes. Hacker Music, what's going on? Bankhead, what's up, bro? Good to see you. And Chris G, I will be preparing for the Olympics. Okay. All right, man. We got you. This is our Philippines. Show me. Don't tell me. Oh, I like that. And we have RHQS checking in from Fort Hood, Texas. All right. Good to see you. And Broderick, this cat's checking in from former Hillcrest Patriot. And then Dan Caraway. What's up, Dan Caraway? Good to see you. Run the Table Sports is here too? Holy cow. Man. Oh, and Todd is here? Todd, what's up, man? Good to see you, Todd Tipton. You know, Todd, I have to tell you this. So, like, every time I hope you never change your avatar, okay? That avatar to me is like, remember, who's old enough to remember Facebook? You remember this? Remember Tom? He never changed his avatar, ever. Like, he had that same one for life. That's how I see yours, Todd. Like, I can see it because how I'm looking at the computer screen, the avatars are super tiny. But I can see yours, dog. So don't, please, just keep it real, man. That's a good photo. All right, Darren Jenkins coming to us from Hunts, Vegas. Yo, Darren, you ever been to Jack Brown's? JTL, man, coming to us from, or he's a Louisiana fan. I don't know where you're at, JTL. Are you in Louisiana somewhere? You like in Baton Rouge? Yeah, MySpace. All right. Okay. You're in LA? Oh, Lower Alabama. Congratulations. Enjoy it down there. Yeah, that's the real LA. All right, and thank you to our fan sponsors as well. You want to become like a fan funder of the show, you could take it up a notch. Hit that join button. There's different levels that you could join, and I really appreciate your consideration. There's also an option to become a Wake Up Bama sponsor too. So either way, I really appreciate your support. Easy to sign up, easy to cancel out, and thank you so much. I really appreciate your guys' consideration. All right. Oh, and JTL's up in Huntsville too. Okay, dang, that's what's up. Huntsville's dope. I told you guys yesterday, I was thinking about maybe in the springtime kind of going around and doing some shows from various cities. Would that be dope? Would you guys be down for that? And what we could do is I could do the show and then we could like have lunch. So something like that. Kind of like meetups in some different cities. We'll figure it out. We could all wear some undefeated gear, which should be published soon. All right. All right. So I want to talk about this Miami-Indiana game real quick. I have a couple things to say. And then I want to go over kind of like the whole assessment, or at least half of it, for like the state of the program. And then I'll take your guys' calls as well. Okay? So last night, who watched last night's game? Raise your hand. Who watched the game? Yes or no, did you watch the game? Like, were you interested in the game? I was interested in the game. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, Alabama's not playing, I'm not going to watch it. I like college football. I like football. I'm going to watch the games. It was on. I wanted to see kind of the outcome. I do think it's weird that the championship is on Monday night. I've always thought that was kind of weird. But whatever. It's fine. I thought it was a great game, okay? And here are my takeaways. This Indiana football team, they improved week by week. This team got better and better and better. I don't know what type of injuries that they sustained during the year or how they were able to respond from that, because everybody in 16 games is going to go through something, right? It's just part of it. This team got better and better and better. There was a point, and I've said this openly during the year, where I doubted these guys. I didn't think that was a good football team. I challenged their schedule, and, you know, they got better and better, and they proved later in the season that they were the more physical team against pretty much everybody. I think last night that was a very physical football game. Would you agree? Like, those are some two teams that were absolutely coming with it. That was like a pro football game in the trenches. Okay, I think the standout things for me are the things that I've been talking about recently, and that's a commitment to the trenches and a commitment to running the ball. And each team did that, okay? There was 66 attempts in running the ball last night in the national championship game. And each team ran the ball effectively different ways. Indiana pounded the rock, 45 for 131, right? With two running backs that are physically imposing, and they just kept at it. Now, I think Black was averaging like 4.6 a carry, which is ridiculous, and he had some bigger runs, but they kept on running the ball, right? They just kept on pounding it. And that's how they were able to win that physicality game. Their offensive line was very good, and it wasn't like these big chunk yardage plays. They had a couple where they get maybe, 8 yards, maybe a 15-yard gain here or there, but it was mostly kind of just banging, right? And the way that they were able to use those two running backs, I thought was beautiful. That's how you're supposed, that's the model, right? Do we have running backs here that can do that? I would say that we do. Are you going to commit to doing something like that? Because I think there's this misconception that if you use your running backs, you're not going to feed your wide receivers. That's completely false. I mean, the seasons that Surratt and Omar Cooper and later on in the season, Charlie Becker, all those guys got fed, including their tight end. It was a very balanced offense. And it all started because they had a really good offensive line that could get pushed, and they had running backs that hit the hole. And every single time, those running backs fell forward. Right? Am I right? Those running backs always fell. You'd be like, he fall, boom, 2 more yards every time. It was very impressive. And they did that all the time. They ran the ball 51 times against Alabama. 51. Cignetti said, he was like, look, we want to run the ball. We want to break you down, and you break down trying to stop the run in the third quarter. Your defense gets tired. It's demoralizing having a 15-play drive when they're just kind of moving down the field. It's the worst thing that could ever happen to you. In Miami, how did they run the ball? Well, they had Fletcher. By the way, did you see Fletcher last night throw a blow? He tried to punch some dude after the game. Who saw that? The punch didn't land. But we are hyping up Fletcher, right? Miami's running back. He reminded me kind of a Bo Scarborough. Same size, right? 6'1", 225 pounds, whatever. Bigger running back. And the way that they ran it is what they had some explosive plays. Right? A 57-yard run that went for a touchdown. Right? I mean, Fletcher was a guy that's a bigger back that was imposing. And, yeah, he did run angry. He ran through he's a bigger back, and that's physical football. So, again, I say this because I'm pairing it back to where we're going. And you have to be able to do this if you want to get to the national championship. And the next thing, outside of running the ball, is trench play. I'm telling you, that Miami defensive front was incredible. I haven't seen a defensive line with that much, I don't know, aggression in I don't know, like when's the last time that Saban had like the best defensive line squad? I'm talking like Jonathan Allen and those guys. Miami was crazy. They were getting after Fernando. He was bleeding in the first quarter. They were violent. They did a really great job committing to the pass rush. Am I right? And they made Fernando uncomfortable. But the thing was, the beautiful thing about Indiana is they made adjustments. They didn't just sit back there and continue to let Miami tee off on Fernando. Now, he got hit for sure. But what they did was they started hitting with some RPO, and they were freezing them because their running back was doing work right up the middle, right? So they were hitting with the RPO, and then boom, quick stuff. And that was keeping kind of the pressure at bay. Am I right? Indiana had a very good defensive front as well. They're good. They were physical. They were. I mean, it was the trench play in that game was perfect. It looked like an NFL game to me. Yeah, Patriot Life. Thank you so much for being a fan funder for 2 years, bro. Wow. Yeah, became live show sponsor. Yeah, Patriot Life, you're it, bro. Thank you so much, man. Up in Chattanooga. Thank you. Of course, bro. He's a community builder. And Lag Gaming in here says, we will see how Indiana fares if they can keep it up after they lose all their old guys on their team. In that, you know what? That's a very interesting point because that was with the oldest team. It was like a semi-pro team. And that's the difference that, like, how can you sustain that? That's going to be the most interesting thing to watch, Lag. And thanks for the super chat, is watching Indiana this next year. Are they able to do that again? What are they going to do in the transfer portal right now? Because I think they have 5 days that Miami and Indiana can get in the transfer portal. By the way, did you see Fernando's little brother? What's his name? He just went into the transfer portal this morning, and it looks like he's going to Georgia Tech. He wins the national championship. We're like, yeah, great job, Fernando. You've done a lot for Indiana. He's like, I'm going to the transfer portal. I kind of thought that was a little strange. I'm talking about the national title game. If you're just joining us, and then outside of the trenches, that special teams play, it was crucial. Miami had one hell of a punter. Okay, he was averaging like 48, 50. Indiana had a really good punter. Indiana had a good field goal kicker. But look at the specialty. You got to be complete in 3 phases of the game. Miami missed a field goal, right? Dong, hit the pole, and then they had a block punt. That's a 10-point swing, right? So that's why I pair all this to Alabama by saying, okay, this is all directed towards Alabama going forward, okay? And today's program is kind of half state of the program. And do half today and then the rest on Wake Up Bama for Wednesday morning, okay? Okay. You got to improve every single week. Consistency and performance. One of the biggest issues, am I right? One of the biggest issues was that Alabama wasn't consistent. Up, down, right? Up for a while and then down, up, down. Consistency and performance. Hey, thanks, Big, for becoming a fan funder. I really appreciate it. Thank you, bro. I love that avatar, too. Okay? My second point is Alabama has to commit to running the ball. This is the biggest thing that they have to do, right, is running the ball. You have to have a commitment to run the ball. The other thing is the trench play. There you go. Do you agree? Everything that we saw last night was the recipe of how to get to the national championship. Consistency, running the football, trench play has to be dominant, right? Special teams has to be there. That's the 3 phases of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. And then guess what? The recipe to winning the national championship and to winning games is right there on the bottom. And Alabama was doing it for a little while. It's right there. This is the recipe to win, okay? Indiana won. How many times we talk about time of possession? All the time, right? When Alabama won time of possession and they didn't turn over the football, they won games. Well, Indiana, what they were able to do on that bottom line, they won time possession. They won the turnover margin, right? And they won running the ball. They had more rushing yards. That's the recipe right there to winning games at the college level. That's it. And that's the roadmap, all right? I think we already figured out how to approach the roster. And now that's how to win games. That's it right there. And I think before I leave this graphic, if you were to go over these areas, you see where Alabama failed. It's right there. Is it not that apparent? Did Alabama improve every week? No. Inconsistent play. Did they have a commitment to running the football? No. Okay? You could go back on why they couldn't, but did they? No. Okay? Did they have trench play that was elite? Did they have a commitment to getting after the quarterback? No. Did they have elite special teams play? No. How often did they win time possession, turnover, and rushing yards? A couple games, not often. Not enough. And that's the difference between being 11-4, which is still actually impressive considering they didn't hit a lot of these marks, and the difference between 16-0. Am I making sense? It seems that apparent to me. So kind of we get to, I want to go over kind of the state of the program. I'm going to go over 6 points here, and then I'm going to take your calls, and then the rest of my points will be on Wake Up Bama. I'll kind of blend it together. I'm giving kind of the roster just a little bit of a rest. I feel like we were going so roster heavy, and we're going to continue, but it's just like now that the season ended and all this stuff. Is that cool? You guys cool with it? All right. Yeah, and Run the Table Sports before I start. He's talking about D'Angelo Ponce. Yo, that dude hit that tight end. D'Angelo Ponce is 5'9", 175 pounds, okay? Like, that's a small man, okay? He hit that tight end who's, 250 pounds? So hard. That was probably one of the biggest hits in the game last night. All right, so what we're looking at here and what my next segment is about the 5 pieces of kind of like the program. And what that means is I'm going to go over the state of the program. And let's start with the identity and standard, okay? So who are we? Who is Alabama? Right? Because let me ask you this. I think for a long time, we knew who we were. We knew who Alabama was. And maybe that still stands, but would you agree that the identity has changed? Yes or no? Has the identity of Alabama football changed? You could say no. I think it is debatable, but I think more people would say yes. What is the offensive identity? Is it kind of a pass-heavy offense? Is it a blend? I don't know if we know the offensive identity. I really don't. Like if you were to be like, yo, Kyle, what's the offensive identity about Alabama football? I would be like, well, I could tell you that they couldn't run the football last year, but going into this year, I don't know. I have no idea what Grubb really wants to do. Be like, yo, but doesn't Grubb not want to run the football? That's not necessarily true. I think the statistics show that he's kind of getting away from the run, but I think he's smart enough to understand that if he doesn't run the ball here, this will be his last year coaching at Alabama. So I don't know what the offensive identity is. I really don't. Gimmicky? That's a damn good word. A33, yeah. Gimmicky. Yeah, I like that. Defensive identity. I feel a little bit better here. And I guess this is just out. Alabama finished number 9 in the AP. Is that right? So top 10. Which is the highest ranking out of anybody. Oh, well, those are the preseason rankings. But this year, Alabama finishes 9th. Okay. The defensive identity, I think, is a little bit clearer to me. I think they're a team that's built with an elite secondary. I think that this is a team that is really good on third downs. I think this is a team that is moderately physical, not overly dominant, but I think it's a defense that still lacks a true pass rush. But I think for the most part, the secondary has been outstanding, right? Situational football, what's kind of the identity there? I think we can go kind of back and forth on that sort of stuff. What do they do in certain situations? I think the back end of the year was a little bit frustrating. And then the bottom one is like, does Alabama, as a team over the last 2 years, do they dictate games or do they react to games, right? Because for a long time that I covered the team, they dictated every single game. And now I think there's been some games they're kind of reacting. You don't want to get in that react mode. You want to go in sports, you want to definitely go into the room as the alpha male. 100%, right? So are they dictating games or are they reacting? It seems to me like they're able to dictate games that are at home like 90% of the time. They play really well at home. And they improved playing on the road. They really did from year over year, right? Oh, thanks. I bought this coat like 3 years ago. It's warm too. It's super warm. And I'm kind of hot right now, but we'll just kind of roll with it. All right, number 2, coaching and leadership. All right. What's coach? And if you just joined us, we're talking about kind of the state of the program. I'm gonna go through like 5 points, and then the rest of mine will be on Wake Up Bama for tomorrow. What is Coach Kalen DeBoer's message? What is the vision? Right? What would you say? I kind of look to this and I'm like, okay, what's the vision? I don't know. Why am I having a hard time here? The head coach's message, the vision. I don't know. I guess I have to come back to that. Can you guys help me out here? What is it? What's the vision? Is that the problem? No, like I'm 100% serious. What is the vision? It seemed to me under the last regime, right, that it was kind of process, pride and performance, right? And I'm not saying that they lack that, but it's like, what is the vision? Why am I having such a hard time on that? That's really strange. Okay, coordinator continuity, very high. A lot of coordinator continuity. And I know you guys want coaches gone. Coach Kalen DeBoer has kept the staff pretty much intact for the first going into year 3. A lot of guys are still here that started with him. I think we brought on Derek Nix. That's really been the new addition, and you lost 2, which is Jamarcus Shepard and Nick Sheridan. But everybody else that he brought in initially is still here. Very loyal coach. And continuity, in my opinion, is good. We like continuity. We don't want, changes all the time. I think that is, we went through that. There wasn't that much continuity, to be honest, with some of Coach Saban's staff, because the offensive coordinators and the DCs, they were always going somewhere else. I mean, there was a point where we had a different OC here. Like all the time. And if you guys are like wondering about, is Coach Kapilova going to leave? No, he's recruiting right now, like high school students. Like he's not going anywhere. Next thing, how is the in-game management? I think this could certainly be an area that tightens up. The in-game management, there was a couple, and I'm going like over the last 2 seasons. In-game management, I think I can't get that stupid Indiana game out of my mind. And Drake, I don't think Alabama's done in the portal. I think they'll still add portal additions, by the way. It's just not going to be like it'll be now. They'll come in like just whenever. Scheme development, this is a huge one on the offensive side, right? You're like, how are they developing? And this is the biggest thing for the offense. Number one is like, what is the scheme development? How are we improving year over year? This will be probably the biggest thing going that dictates Alabama's success right here is this. I think they got pieces, they got guys, we know that. But this is it right here, is the scheme development. If they don't improve on scheme development, this team is not making the playoffs, period. Okay? And what I was thinking too, remember way back when we started to get into the college football playoff rankings, who was the guy, the spokesman that came on and he was talking, he was from Arkansas and he like hated Alabama? Remember they pointed out a long time ago that because Alabama couldn't run the football, they were like being penalized for it. Well, clearly they knew that running the ball was going to get you to January. They were already pointing that out a long time ago. All right, and down here, culture. What's the culture, right? What is the culture of the team? This is another one that is a little bit difficult for me to kind of get framework around. And is it more challenging to develop a culture in this climate of college football? I mean, you look, Indiana seemed to have built a culture with guys that just got there. What's the culture here? Right? Yeah, 8:30 is like, what culture? Because for more than a decade, the culture to me was this was the pinnacle college football program that was basically the stepping stone to the NFL. Like it was a place where savages came to get developed, polished up to transition to the NFL, that were going to compete for championships, right? I don't know. I don't know what the culture is here. Let's see what Egypt says. What's up, Egypt? Kyle, in all seriousness, this Indiana win has made it harder for all major Division I programs, period. I think getting to the top and winning a championship now in kind of like this day and age is going to be so challenging. Like, I mean, in the past, Alabama, I think, had the components and the way that it was kind of structured. Not to say it was easier, but now with kind of the parity and people buying places and buying teams and buying players, I think it's going to be so hard for anybody to get to the championship, 100%. And I'm curious to see if you can sustain that. Like, can Indiana really come back and like run the table again? I would say if I had to bet right now, I would say no. Right? Wouldn't you think this is like a once, like, right? They're not going to come back and win another championship. They're not going to get back to the Final Four, are they? I'm going to have to see like who leaves and goes and stuff like that. I mean, if those guys come back, then obviously, shit, it was a pro team. Okay, more state of the program. Then I'm going to take your calls after these next points. And then I'm going to do the rest of the state of the program on Wake Up Bama the next day. Or for the Wake Up Bama. Okay, the offense, right? Part of the state of the program. The scheme. The scheme was terrible. We all agree the scheme was terrible. See, B-Rob, I'm with you, dog. Right? It's like, come on. This was lightning striking. The scheme has to improve. What was the scheme? It was not it. Okay? Quarterback development. All right, this is it right here. How have these quarterbacks been developed, right, within the last 2 years? I mean, Keelan Russell will have a long time because he got here. He was here all last year, right? So he's been here about a year. So by the time the season starts, it's about a year and a half. That's enough time for development. Put on weight, have him in the room enough, like he's repping with the ones. He should 1,000,000% be ready to be the guy this year when we start the first game of the season. There is no way that he should not be like still like not developed. He should be ready to go. There's no reason that a redshirt quarterback like him, because what that guy was already doing in high school was ridiculous. What we've seen him do in the small sample size was impressive. And how is Austin Mack? This will be what Austin Mack is. What will he be? A redshirt sophomore or a junior? You know he's ready. How are these guys doing from a developmental standpoint? And then the biggest one I think that goes along with scheme is the run game identity. That's it. Can you run the ball? Can you commit to running the ball? Do you have correct scheming to run the ball? Are you going to run the ball on like third and short? Are you going to run the ball in goal line? Can you? I mean, I might need you guys to walk me off the edge here. Because I'm scared that if I don't know why I think this. And I'm trying not to think this way. But I'm kind of scared that if Austin wins the job, I think we just go pass heavy. It's the weirdest thing. I can't like get it out of my system. I think we just like throw the ball 80% of the time. I don't know why I feel like that. I don't know. What's up, Jay? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for checking in. Um, the other thing is explosive. Okay, how many explosive plays did we have this year? Am I wrong, or did it feel like this was probably the least amount of explosive plays like that we've had in 10 years? I'm dead serious. There was like, why was this? Why didn't we have explosive plays? Like an explosive play to me is like, I don't know, Fletcher ran that 57-yard touchdown, right? I guess we did it against Louisiana Monroe. We had that, AK Deer ran for a long one. But what were some other ones? Like, I'm talking about like a slant to Ryan Williams that went for like 81 yards. I'm talking like a 72-yard touchdown from like, Lazier Brooks, Jerry Bernard making people miss, a 59-yard touchdown. Didn't it seem like we lacked explosive plays? Do you agree with that? There was no explosive plays. It seemed like when Alabama did score, it was some long sustaining drives rather than like these quick. Like, we got players, we got playmakers. There was a time here where, remember when the rideouts were here, there was too many explosive plays. It was the craziest thing. They were scoring in like a minute 15. But we need some explosive plays. I don't know why. Well, I think there's a difference between being optimistic and being real. I mean, I am optimistic, but I have to be real about what the team was last year. I mean, there's no way that I can say that these things were positive last year. Do you? The scheme wasn't good. I mean, I think if I was like, I am positive. And I'm hopeful that they turn the tide, but kind of reflecting about things that need to be improved. I think anybody would say I'm completely BSing if I didn't say the truth. The scheme was terrible. We need to figure out the quarterback development. That'll show it on the field. The run game had no identity. You have to be able to improve that. You had no explosive plays, right? I do feel, though, I did like some of the red zone calls from Grubb, specifically against like Auburn, right? That was like some of the things that we did inside the red zone I did like. And then I think when you kind of look at like late game performances, how did this team fare in some games that were tight? Well, not bad. I mean, against South Carolina, right, they had to come back. Against Auburn, right, when it was kind of gut check time, they did their thing. Against Oklahoma, so that wasn't bad, but that's part of the offensive identity, right? And then I think when we look to the defense, this was where they took a really big step forward. The only criticism that I would like to see is like this pass rushing consistent, like the pass rush has to be dominant. Like, is there a way that we can duplicate the pass rush that Miami had and displayed last night, right? How do you have like violent hands like that? How do you have just like a bunch of savages coming after you? Like, what can we do? Do we have guys to do that? It seems like it on paper, to be honest, right? It seems the addition of Terrence Green, Zulu, Isaiah Faga coming back, London Simmons, Edgekill. Like, you got guys. The secondary, I mean, has been great. This should be the best unit in the country. Like to see some more turnovers created, but they did have some. Bray came up with a handful of interceptions, so did ZB, right? I mean, some of the interceptions that ZB had were great. And then I thought second half adjustments were even better this year for Alabama on the defensive side. It's really, you know what? The issues, like, I mean, like, were right here. This is where the issues were. Not so much here. And then just kind of like more state of the programs, kind of wins, loss, and like where are you trending, right? This is all part of it. Quality wins versus ranked teams. Okay. What would you say Coach Kalen DeBoer's like better wins are over the last 2 years? I think the best win that he has, clearly, he has 2 really good wins against Georgia, right? Against Kirby Smart. That goes a long way for us. He beat him at home. He beat him on the road, lost him in the SEC championship. That's 2-1 versus Kirby. One of the best, period. Okay. Other quality wins that he has, I guess the playoff win against Oklahoma. The win against Auburn stands out to me. Let's see. What other wins like stand out? Right? And he has a really good record overall against top 25 teams, and he has a pretty good record against top 10 teams as well. But I think here, when you look to kind of the state of the program, is like a lot of this is kind of the nature of the losses. And I think that is still something that is affecting so many fans right now. And I think that's what kind of gives, if you have kind of a grim outlook, or if you see where Alabama is in some of these way too early preseason polls, is like the nature of the losses, right? Am I right? Like this thing. Because the losses that you had, like they were so gut-wrenching. Like even dating back to 2 seasons ago, nobody knew how good Vanderbilt was, but still losing to Vanderbilt on the road, it killed people, okay? Losing to Oklahoma this in the playoff in the regular season, the way that it happened, the way that Alabama kind of lost that game, the loss to not so much Georgia. I think people knew that Bama was banged up, but the nature of the loss to Indiana did not sit well with people at all. And I think that one of the reasons that it didn't sit well is because everybody knew that, I guess on paper, Alabama was healthy. Were they? I don't know. It seemed like Ty Simpson was playing, as beat up as any quarterback that there was, which is crazy because you had other quarterbacks that you were available to play, but they just prefer. It seemed to me that they played an injured quarterback all year long. And I guess those quarterbacks weren't ready. Yeah, Carl, what's up, man? I saw Fletcher throw a punch after the game. I don't know why he did that. It didn't land. And then we look at like performance and expectation, right? How did they perform and what was the expectation? Well, I think you just go to the last game and you're like, we expected them to perform so great, and that was the expectation, was to beat a team like Indiana, but I don't think we all understood how good that Indiana team was, right? And we found out, and everybody found out just how good that Indiana team was. And I think the expectation, too, is for Alabama to always, like, make the semis or make the champ. I'm telling you, like, where Alabama got this year is still impressive because of all the areas that they're working on, right? Who would have ever thought that they would still get to where they went and they couldn't run the football? It's actually impressive. And then this is the biggest thing. I disagree with people on this all the time. People don't feel that there was a true improvement from the first year to the second year. Yes, there was. There was a really big improvement. Like if you zoom out, this team, let me ask you like this. Would the 2025 Alabama team beat the 2024 Alabama team? I think, yeah, it would be an interesting game, but I would say yes. But I think collectively they're a better team, right? The quarterback efficiency was a lot better. Now, Milroe did some things with his legs that made him dangerous, but the efficiency overall of Ty Simpson was impressive. He would have thrown for 4,000 yards if it wasn't for all those drops, right? Now, there wasn't any run game, but there was still offensive efficiency with the pass game. Like, Ty Simpson was an efficient quarterback. The defense is where the team got really, really improved. They stopped the chunk yardage. They stopped allowing people just to run all over them. I know the last game was different, but collectively, the secondary got even better. They finished number 9 in the country. And I don't know, the special teams, was it better? I don't know. Let's call it a draw. And they won more games. And the other thing was they won on the road. The first year that DeBoer got here, he couldn't win on the road. Couldn't. No matter where they went, couldn't win. They worked on that. Winning games on the road against Georgia. Winning on the road in the playoffs against Oklahoma. Going to Missouri, winning, right? Far few penalties, that's another one. Yeah. Yeah, people tweeting out that Kapilovic is still like the lead recruiter for Alabama right now. I know that's probably what you don't want to hear, but that's the truth. All right, so the rest of my points will be coming up on Wake Up Bama for a Wednesday show. And look, I get it. Some of the stuff you're like, man, like maybe you could spin it to be like more positive. I want to be like factual and tell you like what's real, and then also, you know, kind of explain it a little bit more. So, and again, if you like disagree with any of my points, it's all good. I appreciate you guys. I promise you we'd be friends outside of this. And with that said, we'll kind of move into the call-in portion. All right, so video is powered by Sleeper. All right, you download the app, $20 upon just downloading the app. Get a $100 deposit match up to $100. Perfect time for the NFL playoffs. You can do more or less picks. Really fun to do. Download them. They are a sponsor of mine. So if you guys definitely support them, I would appreciate it because they support me. So thank you so much. And remember, the promo code is TAILGATE. TAILGATE. That is the promo code. All right. I'm going to fire up the call-in line. Same rules kind of apply as usual. If you called in yesterday, you're off today. All right, so the show works better, as I always say, with more call volume and no double dips. A double dip is like when you're double dipping the chip, right? Like you don't do that. Call one time, say your stuff, and then we'll catch you the next time. It's like no double dippers. All right, so thank you so much for following the rules. And then same thing. It's like when you're on, don't chew up all the time. All right. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys rocking with me today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And it's pretty much, you have some points to hit on from last night's game or state of the program. You want to bring something up, it's all good. I appreciate it. And we'll start the call-in show in just a second. And the call-in line number is 205-850, and it is 1994. So call-in line just about started. And thank you so much. Again, like a million times over, I do all of the, graphics work and connections and all this other stuff like by myself. So I don't even know how it works, to be honest. It's like a Frankenstein type setup. So thank you. I'm even surprised that it does work, to be honest. All right. So with that said, we'll take our first call, and we got, looks like Jay from Pensacola. Jay, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kyle. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, man. You doing all right? Where are you on the road at, bro?
I'm in New Mexico, actually.
You're in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Where? This is exciting.
I'm in the middle of nowhere, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
to the nearest town.
And that's
I'm not sure.
Are you
San Ysidro, whatever.
Huh. Let's break it down like this. New Mexico, okay, here's some truth, okay? New Mexico is the 5th largest state land-wise. It's massive. So good chance you're just in the middle of nowhere.
It is.
Are you on I-40?
I'm actually on the back interstate. I'm on Highway 4.
Highway 4. All right. We'll have to figure it out. All right. Jay from Pensacola calling from New Mexico. Come with it, bro.
Kyle, first of all, I want to tell you, Kyle, as a father myself, that's the best thing besides giving my life to God that I've done. Being a father, being a good husband, being a good person.
Yeah.
And father to father, I want to tell you, I appreciate you. I have a 13. My daughter will be 13 in November.
Yeah.
And I have a 9-year-old. It'll be 9 in February and next month. So, and 2 daughters. You have a son, thank God. But I have 2 daughters. But yeah, I want to tell you the best thing I've done, being a provider, is something I take pride in. That's why I work so hard to take care of my wife and my kids, and it's amazing. I want to say thank you, Kyle, for being such a good leader, for being such a good motivator, for being such a realist. I want to take the time to shout out to you for being such a good person, Kyle. And
appreciate it,
thank
bro.
you for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you, man. Anything with like the game last night? Were you able to watch the game from like a remote?
I watched the game. I basically saw, and unpopular opinion. That might not go well with people, but all around, Indiana was a better team.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, Miami defense was better than Indiana's, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know what?
Miami,
the Miami pass rush was crazy, but you know what? Indiana's secondary was salty. All right, they were making plays all over. Look, they were letting them play a little bit. There was some holds a little bit that they didn't call, but no, Indiana's secondary was good.
So, point that when I first turned the show on, he was talking about Ryan Grubb in the scheme. I was thinking to myself, so if Ty is after the South Carolina game, if Ty was hurt, I know once again an unpopular opinion. If Ty was hurt, then we made it as far as we did anyway. But why not go ahead and like start Austin Mack? I mean, hey, possibly we had made it. As far as we did without Ty Henderson, no, we probably wouldn't have made it. But at the same time, we would have had he would have a few games up on his belt. I mean, I don't mean here by myself, but if he played hurt like he did it hurt him more than help him?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of like wonder like how hurt Ty Simpson was. I mean, you always learn like it's always kind of weird. Like after this season, you learn that the guy had like a broken arm and all this sort of stuff. You're like, well, damn, like why didn't you play the other guys on the team? You know, during that time, it's like, what does that say that you knew that these guys were hurt and you were still playing them? If he had all these back injuries and all this other stuff, why? That's kind of the thing I always wondered about. Is like, why didn't you play the other guys then? That tells me maybe they didn't have confidence in the guy's abilities. I have no idea. All right, Jay, but I appreciate it, man. Stay safe driving through New Mexico, man. Hopefully you come up on the city sometime, bro. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate the compliments as always, bro.
Appreciate you, Kyle. Love you, Kyle. Guys, the greatest. I got one more question before I go, Kyle. I'll let you answer on the line. Who would you say out of our receiver room, either this year or last year, well, both, could be our best route runner? Because if our wide receiver can't get separation to catch the ball, is there on route running? But thank you, Kyle. That's great. I love you.
All right, man. Take it easy, brother. All right. Best route runner on the team right now, last year. I'd probably say, I guess, Journey Bernard, right? Last year, was he the best as well? I mean, maybe 2 years in a row, right? Germ, I guess. Lazier Brooks runs some nice routes. I mean, Ryan looks smooth out there. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Bernard, kind of an interesting question. I don't know. Let's see who we got. Mike in Choctaw. Mike, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming in with it, man. Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kyle. I wish you would step back from the ledge, my friend. That's a song, by the way. But, hey, dude, this is what gets me, Kyle, right? Good morning. Good morning, you, and good morning, everybody there in Bama Nation. First of all, congrats to Indiana. Congrats to Indiana. Miami had a chance to win the big game in the biggest of stages in their home stadium and still couldn't get it done. And the reason why, because Indiana's a better team. I mean, that's just what I saw, dude. So I'm far from being a Hoosier fan, but I say congratulations, Indiana. They had a great year. And that's proof in my book, Kyle, how upside down, if, for lack of better words, college football is right now when Indiana, like, historically the worst team 2 or 3 years into the NIL trend, now they're the best team in college football. And that just shows you how upside down college football is right now. But, and me anyway, but just to answer your question about team identity, who knows, dude? I mean, what I mean by that is that as much roster attrition that we get to the NFL, to the transfer portal, I think every year a team finds a new identity, and hopefully it's a good identity. But as far as what team we got, nobody really knows until about 3 or 4 games into the season, dude. That's just how college football is nowadays. It's just, I expected to have Keelan Keeley back. I expected to have this James Smith. I expected to have some of these good players back that we don't have anymore. So we're not going to know till beginning of next year and first few games what kind of identity we have. But here's what I got to tell everybody, man. It's a complete new day. But dude, we didn't. I mean, what gets me, a lot of Bama fans, I mean, think the world is ending. I know the standard is the national. I know what the standard is. Yep. But, dude, we did not have a disastrous year. We didn't go 0-14. We finished number 1 in the SEC. I can preach it all day. So the world is not ending. But like I say, Kyle, just eat the way college football. The short answer to your questions about this team, dude, we don't know. We don't know until the season starts and see what we got 3 or 4 games in. That's where we're going to find out what our identity is, dude. That's the state of college football right now, man.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate it, man. Always good to hear from you, Mike. Thank you so much for calling in, man. And we'll catch up with you next time, man. Thanks for the call.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I like the whole ranking stuff. I said earlier in the show, I don't think you should rank the teams until they play like 8 games. Remember, like, how all the rankings were out? Remember last year, or this, like, I guess the 2025 season, Illinois at one point was ranked like 8. Do you remember this? I watched them play. Like, I watched them play Duke, and I was like, this team's 8? I was like, this team's trash. All right, 901.
How's it going, Kyle? This is Jarvis from Houston.
Jarvis, what's up, dog? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good this morning. Blessed this morning, man. And I just want to piggyback off the 2 other callers. I need my Alabama fans to remember. I need them to get an understanding. You're going to hear from me first, Kyle. What the Indiana coach has done, he has gotten a bunch of experienced players. Yes, the average team age of this team is 23, okay? But those guys have been in college football system, meaning weight room. Mm-hmm. When it comes to their dieting, they understand the structure of college football. Yeah. So when you have players, whether they be 2, 3 stars, 4 stars, when they're already acclimated to the college football standards, mm-hmm. and you got a culture like their coach, they're easy to get into the system to where they are able to adapt. They already been through that stage of the freshman year. Yeah. They already got 3 years involved into it. Yeah. So you got a semi-pro team that's playing against players that's may been freshmen, sophomores from the high school rankings, okay? So that being said, what we just witnessed, this probably will never happen again, because you want to know why? The big dogs is coming now. If you look at the transfer portal, they're going out the players. They say, you know what, we're seeing where the college football world is going now. Mm-hmm. So you know what, we're gonna put our money aside to getting players in the portal now. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna hurt the high school recruiting. Not only that, what they're gonna do about the NFL when you got players coming in. NFL, back in the day, players going to the NFL, 20 years old, 21. Now you got 24, 25, 26-year-olds, mm-hmm. kids going to the NFL draft. What's going to happen to the NFL level, okay? That's what I'm looking at now. So what we're looking at, I need my Alabama fans to understand retention as far as we keeping players. We have a good system. We have a good coach. Just trust him.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing in the players that fit his scheme as far as the board. He's bringing in the players that he wants to run his offensive line, quarterback. He has the players, okay? Let this man do what he needs to do. Give him time. It was a great season. Why our fans is so upset that we're I understand. I was frustrated the whole season that it was up and down, up and down. But that's what you call when you're going through a what? Transition stage.
Yeah.
From Nick Saban to DeBoer. But DeBoer got a proven record. I know he was over there at Washington, but he was able to develop those players. But those players were what? His players. Those players would fit his scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Now he got the players. Let's see what he give him time. Let's see what he do this next year up and coming. Y'all give him time. I think we're gonna have a great season coming in. Even though we young on the offensive line, we're returning what 6, 7 players on the defense, something like that. And offense, maybe 2 players, 3 players with far as the playing experience. Yeah, we're gonna have a young team, but I think the upside is up. So that's what I'm looking at. But as far as when it comes to the new age or era of football, it's semi-pro. But this is what I want to ask my Alabama fans. Even though Indiana won the national championship, how long can you sustain getting players, a new team every year out of the portal? How long can that sustain? Alabama going to be able to sustain because we're able to recruit. As long as we keep our trajectory going up as far as developing players, this is what we're going to see this year coming. If we're able to project that, we're going to be able to sustain recruiting as far as from the high school rankings. So it's all about how can you sustain as far as recruiting. So in the portal, yeah, we're in the portal age, but how long will that last? You having a lot of players that's leaving because a lot of these players, they're only there for 1 year.
Mm.
So how long can you withstand that? So how long can that sustain that level of competitiveness? Because when you bring in new players, it's a new team every year, new dynamic every year. So that's why I look at it.
Good call, Jarvis. I appreciate it, man. Always spitting facts, man. Thanks for the comments inside the comment box and all your support, bro. Always good to hear from you, man. Loving the 901 calls in, man. Call back in more. Appreciate it, bro.
Okay.
All right, take it easy. Yeah. That's Jarvis. You know him as 251 inside the comment box. Speaking some truth. I like what Jarvis is saying, and it made my ears perk up when he's talking about, like, I'm so interested. Let's say I don't know. I have to look at it. Does anybody know off the top of my head how many guys are leaving from Indiana? Is like everybody leaving? What if they're able to just live off the transfer portal? I don't think that's sustainable. I think there has to be like a balance of the retention, transfer, like kind of what Alabama did. You can't tell me you can just like go out in the transfer portal and have like a new transfer portal, team every single year and continue to have that same level of success. But he also brought up a really good point about now the big dogs know that that's a method where you can win is by getting these older players. So you see what other teams are doing in the portal, right? Indiana was just really smart on it. Was like, you know what Indiana did? You ever seen that movie Moneyball where they had that Excel spreadsheet and they just basically went off like statistics and kind of things that made sense? That's kind of, I think that's what Indiana did, but on the football side of things, right? I don't know if that'll ever be duplicated. 260. Hey, welcome.
Hey, Kyle.
What's going on? Who am I on line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Jackson calling in from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Jackson, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in from Fort Wayne. Come with it, man.
Well, let me tell you, first I'll just touch on the game last night. Miami had the talent to win everywhere but the quarterback position.
Yeah.
I've never been sold on light bulb head. I can't even think of his name.
Carson Beck.
But yeah, he looked just not even in sync. He just looks like he's out there in a dreamland, and they overpaid for a quarterback, so you can't always depend on this portal. they swung and missed with Beck. And Indiana, God, I'm so glad it's over, because if I have to see Fernando Mendoza cry one more time, I'm going to kick my TV in. That's the biggest ball baby I've ever seen. But real quick on Alabama, the thing that I would like to see DeBoer, and yeah, I was ready to fire him after the FSU game. I was mad because you had this whole offseason to get everything corrected, and you came out flat. And I get it now that I kind of step back and look at it. That was Gus Malzahn with a freak athlete at quarterback that was built to beat Alabama. I mean, they didn't do anything after that, really. And but the one knock I still have on DeBoer is he seems hesitant to make a change when a change is necessary. We saw it with Milroe. When Milroe fell off last year, he wouldn't pull him. We say if Ty is losing production or he's injured, he wouldn't pull him. And he kind of was hesitant to make a change at the running back. I mean, why not throw A.K. Deer in there if everybody is beat up or broken? You know, and that's kind of got me nervous about this coaching staff. You know, he's loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to cost him his job, because as mad as you may get at DeBoer, there's really no other proven coach out there to replace him with. So we're kind of ride or die with DeBoer right now. And I'm behind him, but sometimes you see him on the sidelines and he looks like they're speaking Greek into his headset, like he don't even know where he's at.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you bring up a good point, because I think I think a lot of people, like, his approval rating is actually high, but it's some of it. What we're seeing right now is kind of the scheme and some of the coaching staff that's under him. People want that change. I think people want that change more than a different head coach, right? I think that's clear as day. Right. I think we're like, yeah, DeBoer is great, but we need some other components to kind of step up to where we need to go, because the offense just isn't it. And people are fed up and with kind of where we're at from an offensive line standpoint, and then the offense just wasn't it. But I don't think there's a lot of people calling for DeBoer, although I did see an article today by ESPN that said he's entering the season on a hot seat. I don't know if I agree with that or not. I mean,
I kind of look at it like, was there some improvement? There was some improvement, but it seems to me like year 1 and 2 were almost equal. I mean, we had a couple of more losses. I mean, we had the same amount of losses and a couple more wins. What the biggest thing for me is DeBoer is when he wins, it's a close game, but some of it when he loses, we're getting our teeth kicked in on some of the losses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, what needs to change? You know, I understand. Look, dude, Kyle, I'm 55. I can remember Bear Bryant games.
Mm-hmm.
My first Alabama game was a Bear Bryant game, and we've been through tough times before, and I don't expect DeBoer to be Saban. But I think a lot of people, though, that remember when Saban left LSU, there was so much talent on that team that Les Miles won a national title in 2 years. So I think a lot of people were going, well, heck, DeBoer's going to come right in, and he's going to win a national title because of all the talent Saban left.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of like it didn't happen. And is that – I mean, I've heard some people say, well, a lot of people, some of the players they feel weren't buying into DeBoer, so they kind of quit on him. And maybe that's why a lot of these guys are jumping in the portal, because they were Saban guys that don't want to play for DeBoer or are not buying into his system, you know. But I would just like to see him be a little bit more assertive. And he did get fired up a few games. And he started to change his mindset, you know, being a little bit more aggressive, a little bit. You know, I know people make fun of him for punching them, but I liked it when he came up and was firing the team up.
Me too.
You know, he was changing. He was becoming more of an SEC-type coach.
Yes.
But the thing that just sticks in my craw, Kyle, is the improvement of the Seahawks after Grubb left.
I know.
And that's the kind of thing that bothers me.
Yep.
Is Grubbs really that good of a coach? Because even his, what was it, Shanahan? Or not Shanahan, who was the coach that was kind of talking? He didn't mention Grubb, but he was saying that
it was Mike. It was Mike McDonald.
Grubb is just calling plays without any rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
Like he almost doesn't know why the play worked,
Yeah.
why he called the
I
play in
know.
the first place.
Crazy soundbite
That's
for
just,
sure.
And like you said yesterday, these fluke trick plays, scrap that, man. It's
Yeah.
okay if you want to have 3 a season.
Yeah.
But to be trying all this, and I don't know. I'm still behind them, though. I've got a lot of hope. This past week in the portal has really, like, solidified my confidence in him. And, somebody said that maybe Saban cashed a check, maybe Saban wrote a check to start getting some of these players.
That's what I said. I was like,
he's got the money.
I was like, it's nice to have a rich grandpa, right? I mean, he just
right. I mean, if Mark Cuban can write a check, get Saban to write a
100%.
check. I know he's not Mark Cuban, but he's got some money.
You're like, hey, Saban, could you sell a couple Ferraris in Monaco? Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, hey, why not? If, like Texas has all these Lamborghini deals, why not Saban throw some Mercedes these players' way?
All right, good call, Jackson. I appreciate it, man.
All right, brother. Love the show.
Yeah, take it easy, bro. Jackson calling in from up in Indiana. Hey, fam, what about this schedule right here? We like this. 5-0. Definitely seems manageable, right? Let's look at this real quick. Okay, Eastern Carolina, come on. Home game, come out. Kentucky, got Kentucky. Come on. Florida State, they got Ashton Daniels, right? It'll be a challenge, of course. South Carolina, that game's here. The North Sellers comes back. It'll be a tough game for sure, 100%. But you got to be Alabama's going to be the favorite in the first 5 games, 1,000,000%. And then you go to Stark Vegas, right? I don't know. I really like this first half of the season. The biggest thing is you don't have you avoid slip ups and injuries, because as we get going, this next part right here, it gets pretty bumpy. Look at the first 5 and the next 5. This is crazy. Georgia, Tennessee, or at Tennessee, Texas A&M, open week at LSU. I don't know what Vanderbilt has coming back, but I would imagine there's, they'll still be a little bit good, right? These next 5 is crazy. And there's the only bye that you only have 1 open week this year. Did y'all like having 2 open weeks? Did it help from a health standpoint? It seems like Bama was a little bit banged up towards the back of the year. All right, let's go out to Steve in Powder Springs. Steve, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Cal? I'm good. How you, brother?
Yeah, good to hear from you, bro. Come with it, man.
And you as well, man. I just want to say, first off, thank God for you, because you're doing some good things on your program every time you mention him. So that's a plus for you, man. I just want to say thank you for that, and keep doing what you're doing, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. Welcome,
all right.
Yeah, welcome to the show, man. Go ahead.
First thing I want to ask you is, are you at any of the practices during the off season and stuff?
No. No.
Okay.
The way that Alabama handles that for media, like in this current point in time, there used to be a time where I would go to like the practices that were allotted for the media. I've been very open with you guys that, now that I just cover YouTube, I'm just pretty much more here. But the reporters, when they do go to practice, they're only allowed to see individual periods for like 8 to 10 minutes. So sometimes you can see some stuff, but it's just kind of like it's a little bit more than warm-ups, but you can see like the running backs going through rotation, but it depends on where the guys are at. Like sometimes they might have quarterbacks way down like 200 yards. They might have like the wolf position right in front of you. They'll have and it's always like systematic. So you kind of know, unless they're indoor where you're a little bit closer to the action, but it just like to be forthright, no, not at this point in time.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. My next question is, do you think that Coach DeBoer would do anything like Coach Saban used to do and get the scouts to grade his guys with the with the NFL pro scouts coming in and giving them their pro focus grade to see how well they're doing, and that helps him, help them get up to a higher level of skill. Because I don't know, like I said the last time I called, I don't really know if Coach DeBoer is using Coach Saban as far as his wisdom. And I know Coach Saban, I had heard him one time say that he asked the scouts to grade his guys, and that was a coaching tool that he used. And I didn't know, I didn't know if Coach DeBoer did anything like that. I think that's a great thing to do, especially when you got guys today, they're playing college football to try to go to the NFL. So, that was that. And then the other thing I wanted to say was high schoolers. I see the way all of this NIL stuff is going and college is becoming the NFL light. I think a lot of times, well, in my mind, I see high schoolers now, maybe if they're not ranked, real heavy 5 stars like E.J. Crowell and some of the other ones and stuff, that they may just take a route that takes them through JUCO or, smaller schools and to get some time in and some experience, and then hit the transfer portal as an unknown, for a large part, and then be very valuable as an asset to a major school. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, go ahead, man.
I was just going to say that was going to be the end for me. Okay. You have a blessed day and roll tide.
All right, man. Take it easy, Steve. I appreciate you calling out from Powder Springs, bro. So, right now, it's really interesting, the recruiting process, and I'm kind of curious to see how, what happens going forward, because coaches are on the road right now recruiting 2027, 2028 guys, and I wonder, what the strategy is in terms of kind of pressing on that in kind of this new world of transfer portal and kind of where we're at. And I'm sure that the coaches at some point are going to sit down in springtime and be like, yo, what is the best strategy going forward to build up our roster? It's just kind of like the allocation of roster numbers. How important is kind of the foundation of recruiting? Has recruiting really changed? We're saying it has, right? And and how important is the transfer portal? I think the most challenging thing for probably someone like Courtney Morgan, who does roster management, you can't necessarily forecast who's going to leave and who's going to come back. It's nearly impossible, right? Because a lot of that depends on how the player fared that season. If the player was unhappy, what if the player was poached? Imagine doing, roster management is probably maddening in college football to figure out. We'll have to count up the numbers, but I think it's over 40 new names that are on the roster this year. 40, right? And I get it. They can take up to 105, players. That's a significant, it's almost half your team. I don't know. I'm leaning towards that 2027, 2028 isn't as important anymore, but I definitely could be wrong. I want to think about this and kind of hear your guys' take going forward on kind of building the roster. It's super interesting to me. All right, let's do Tom from Bama.
Hey, Kyle. Good morning from Atmore.
Hey.
Roll Tide. And looking at the landscape of college football, it's definitely changed the way that they recruit kids now. I think as far as the wants and the needs, part of the transfer portal is actually more important than recruiting high school kids.
Yeah.
You get an immediate fix,
yeah.
As far as a fit factor. But again, just because they're big, just because they've got size, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to buy into your scheme.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem we ran into at Bama. I hate to say it, but even under Saban, I believe that's what drove Saban out the door, is we fell short of the championship. And the first thing when he did his exit interview with the players, is they wanted to know how much they were going to get paid and how much they were going to play the next year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's what turned Saban off, because Saban was never about the money. Saban was about developing the young men, both on the field and off the field. He wanted to build character, you know? And I'm sorry, if your priority is cash, you're never going to buy in. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I mean, if your priority is development, then you're not worried about cash. Look at Ty Simpson. He was offered all kind of cash, and he was poached, potentially to transfer from Bama, but he decided to stay, and he got his opportunity, and he made the most of it. Sadly, the rest of the team did not play at that same standard. There were some individuals that had breakout years and a breakout season, but overall, I just feel like the total team buy-in was not there. A lot of people thought, well, I'm a 5-star, I'm recruited, I should be playing, I should be starting. It doesn't matter, I'm going to the league anyway. How are you going to motivate a guy like that? You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem Saban ran into. And DeBoer, from my friends that are, alumni that know him, that are around the program, they tell me that DeBoer is 100% a player's coach. They said the kids love him, And I think, if you look at it, from what I've been told, that he spent his recruiting money on retaining the ones that he recruited. To my knowledge, we lost one that he actually recruited, and I believe that was DeBose.
Yes.
Who was chasing a bag in playing time. He didn't want to wait. He wanted to make his impact immediately, and he saw an opportunity to get paid while doing it. You can't fault a kid if that's his priority, but that's not the priority of Alabama. We need to recruit kids that are going to hit the fit factor, that are willing to wait and be developed, because we've always heard, and you see, iron sharpens iron. If you go back and look at Cignetti, he took Saban's plan and put it to work. He's a great talent evaluator. He went out and found not the guys everybody else was looking for. He looked for fifth-year seniors. He looked for people that would fit his system, that were willing to buy in. And guess what? Payday. I believe DeBoer is our best long-term coach for Bama. I don't think he's on the hot seat this year. Regardless if we do have a subpar season, which I don't. I see us going 10-2 at the very worst. Like you said, the first 5 out the gate, I don't want to call them give-me's, but barring catastrophe, we should be 5-0, I think it's going to be key to play the young guys early, That offensive line, we have a lot of promise. We have a lot of big guys, but we have a lot of youth that's returning too, that's ready to step up for their moment, So I see the first 5 games as an opportunity to really get a lot of playing time with a lot of different combinations of an offensive line. But I think the fact that we recruited so many tight ends, there's a shift in focus. The running game will return in 2026. You will see I'm excited about Crowell. I don't know about anybody else, but I see many paths to him. I'm not going to say he starts, but by the end of the year, I think he's the man. I mean, I could be way off, but I definitely see him getting significant playing time, but I think he will be the guy. We have Hill showed some promise, but again, we did not open holes. If you go back and look at Bama of old, 2009 up to about 2018, when Joe Pendry was there as offensive line coach, we opened holes. It was pick your hole. And I hate to say it, but everybody knows Trent Richardson didn't make it in the pros because he didn't have vision. What he did have is if he hit the hole, he was gone. He had unmatched athletic ability, but he struggled when he got to the pros because he couldn't hit the hole. He would hit the wrong hole. It would be wide open on one side, and he'd go to the part that's stacked. The linebacker went in to tackle him, Again, I don't think Hill benefited from that. Richard Young, I don't think benefited from that. Deere didn't benefit from that. If you look, the only player that we had that gave us some promise and he was hit and miss this year, was Jam Miller.
Yep.
He was our only outside threat to get to the outside. If you look at the Auburn game, if he would have played like that all year, you cannot tell me he would not have run for 1,000 yards. I think it's going to be a mental reset with the team. I think it starts with the coaches. I know as fans we were disappointed and we're screaming for coaching changes, but, the fans have to sit back and realize we hired him because he's a proven winner. He's a proven coach. We have to trust him in his process. I said the other day, it takes really 5 years. You got to give a coach 5 years these days to fully implement everything that he planned on doing, because you might have 1 or 2 years where he misevaluated somebody or somebody's priorities changed along the way. Okay, that can affect somebody bigly. When you're talking about 11 men on a roster and your center doesn't buy in or your left tackle doesn't buy in, they're critical key positions. I think the fact that he talked Keelan Russell and Mack into coming back, to me, that's the biggest win for next year. And he did it, and and I know he's sitting there watching these kids transfer out left and right. And he's thinking, well, good God, who's going to be in front of me protecting me? Am I better to go get a bag and do somewhere else? But they believed in DeBoer, and I think we should too.
Good call, Tom. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for your service, by the way. Appreciate it. Good call. Thanks for calling in. A lot of points I agree with, man.
Kyle.
All right, man. Take it easy. I think the only point that I disagree with from Tom calling in is probably like the 5-year mark, right? That seems a little bit long. I get it. It's like you do have 5 years, to get everything established. I just think 5 years seems like an eternity, right? But other than everything else, I mean, he was absolutely right. I mean, he was cooking. I mean, he had a lot of really great points, I think, on the tight end usage and he's predicting that the running game does come back. Talking to the quarterbacks into coming back, I thought was a brilliant point as well. DeBoer is a proven winner for sure. And then I think on top of that, I was going to also back him up on this, is the addition of Courtney Morgan in terms of roster management and being really the first true GM that has kind of now everybody has a GM, but I think Alabama, DeBoer, one of the first ones to have a GM, right? And those two and building roster, and now you kind of just, it is crazy. Like Jarvis said inside the com box, that all Saban's guys are pretty much gone. This is DeBoer's team. Wow. Interesting to think about. All right. Let's see. Go back to the phone lines. 205. Hey, thanks for calling in. Who am I on line with? Where are we calling in from? Couldn't hear you. Call back. 774. 607. Rob from Gulfport, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Good show. Enjoy it. And I tell you, that game yesterday was fantastic.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that game a lot.
Me too. I thought it was great. And as I went over kind of those 5 points, it made so much sense to me that those are the areas of focus for Alabama, right? Committing to running the ball, trench play, special teams, time of possession, don't turn the football over. You win games. And Alabama has the athletes. If they can go in those categories, they're going to win as many games as they need to if they can advance in those areas. Welcome, Rob from Gulfport.
We got great athletes. Talking about the strength, I noticed one thing is, first of all, when Indiana needed 3 or 4 yards, bam, right up between the tackles, got their offensive line pushing Miami back. And also when they had the usual shove and push between defensive line and offensive line, usually the defensive line wins those pushes. Indiana's offensive line was pushing those guys back for those extra 3-4 yards. And that goes with strength and conditioning. So I think we should look into the strength and conditioning coach, unless DeBoer wants to get strength with more agility. I don't know what the term for that is, but he wants more agile players, a more agile lineman, and that's not going to work. second of all, I got a few points here. This won't take too long. Just bear with me. As far as Grubb is concerned, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And the new trick for him is to get a running game. I don't think he's going to do it because he's always the smartest man in the room. And he's not going to change. I don't think he's going to change. And as far as the confidence in Grubb, it's 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. And as far as the offensive line, Kapovich did not have a good resume coming into this game. Into this season. And I'm looking, and as you mentioned before, Parker Brailsford and Caden Proctor, they did not develop that much from last year. So the guy to watch this year is Michael Carroll. See how much he develops. Mm-hmm. And if he can't develop, then I think Kapovich will be the sacrificial lamb at the end of the season. On the defensive line, people have been talking about Roach for years and years and years. The one I'm looking for right now is Lyndon Simmons. I think he did real well last year because of natural talent. Let's see how much he's developed this year. So I've got my doubts about Roach. We'll see what happens. As far as our head coach, Kyle, if he loses 3 regular season games this year, he should go. You can't keep him anymore. He should go. And there might be an opportunity here with Nebraska, because Matt Rule is in his 4th year, and he's done nothing at all. And I think Nebraska is ready for a coaching change. And if Debo loses 3 games, maybe 4 games in a bowl game, something can be worked out with Nebraska. You know, they can buy some of DeBoer's buyout. He goes there, and DeBoer's out. As far as head coaches, why not the defensive coordinator from Indiana? Why not our own Mo Lindquist, perhaps as a coach? I'm serious about these guys. These are smart, but I'm serious about these guys. It's possible, because look at Mo Lindquist in the secondary. The best secondary in the entire country. And he develops these guys. Anyway, that's why I got a lot more to say, but so do a lot of people, and I enjoy hearing other people. But I tell you, though, something's got to be changed. And if we lose a game before Georgia, ooh,
yeah.
I would not want to be Coach DeBoer.
Yeah, I agree. That is a very manageable schedule. It should be. But you're right. All right, thanks for the call, Rob. I appreciate it, bro.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right, family. If I didn't get to you today, I'll get to you guys the next round, which will be tomorrow. So thank you so much for you guys calling in today. Yeah, good calls from all over. I think, it's always interesting to think about, like, there's some other coach out there that eventually be a head coach here. But, like, look, I think that we go into the season. I mean, you all are optimistic that the run game will come back. I'll go with you guys. I'll believe it. I mean, they have to. I mean, all the data points are there. We're not making up all this stuff. You have to improve in that particular area. You kind of look at the running backs that we have. You're like, okay, yeah, we got a really good balance. These guys need to be fed. It can be done. I would love more than anything, and someone pointed this out inside the comment box. They said that Indiana's running backs are 23 years old. However old they are. I would love to see us use a blend of our running backs, like a D. Hill, A.K. Deere. If Crowell's ready to go, get him in. We can't forget about Kevin Riley, right? Like, we got guys to be able to do that, you got to think. It's just like, can we commit to doing that? In the offensive line, they have to be able to provide that sort of protection as well. So I think Alabama finishes out number 9 in the country, and that's the AP poll. Okay, yeah, top 10. Where do we go from here, right? What is the next step? That's an interesting point to ponder as we kind of end today, is what is the next step for Coach DeBoer, right? Clearly it's forward. What does that mean? Is that in terms of like wins and losses? Right? Is that in terms of like Just is it that simple? Is it about getting to the semifinals? What does that mean? I think a way to look at it in terms of like what is the next step forward, I think it's having an offense that is very complementary to the defense. I think you start there, and I think you show improvement on special teams. I'm not even talking wins and losses. I'm just talking in let's have the offense match that defense, and let's have those two areas be tightened up, and then kind of let the chips fall where they may based on our talent, and then you kind of stack on evaluations for the future of Alabama football. But clearly, it was the offense that was just lagging, right? It was like an airplane trying to take off with a huge parachute out. Like you weren't going to go anywhere with that type of offense. So that's the next step, is the improvement of the offense and an improvement of the special teams, so we can have all three phases of the game. I would imagine that the defense is going to be really good. Why wouldn't they? Right? And I think, yeah, that's another good point, Jarvis, is in being competitive in every single game. You're going to take some on the chin. You might get knocked down a couple times. That's kind of the nature of it. But being competitive in those type of games, not losing 28-7, not losing 38-3, right? Not getting blown out by like a Florida State, something like that. Like we have to take steps forward in those type of areas as well. So with that said, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. I kind of went away from the roster today a little bit because we've been talking so much about the roster. We'll kind of curtail around and start talking more about the roster and, talking a little bit about the depth chart and about the two deep, and then talking about some new names that could potentially jump on from the transfer portal. Just because the transfer portal is closed, that doesn't mean that the roster is set. Alabama certainly has some areas that you could bring on, right? Which I think will benefit. And I think if you look at Alabama's roster right now, you feel good about where we stand. You just have question marks because we don't have a quarterback in terms of like with experience. We don't know how the offensive line is going to shake out. But you got to think with the components that they got coming in, you're like, okay, yeah, let's go. A revamped offensive line. Defense should be good, like really good. So, yeah, I think we feel much better about the roster. But today I kind of wanted just to start out kind of thinking about state of the program, and then I'll finish out my next points on Wake Up Bama, which will be Wednesday morning. But news as it happens, I'm always dropping new content and, kind of coming up with you guys where I can. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate you guys being here, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for watching so much.